Board meeting to order. It is 7:02 p.m. We are in Conference Room C of the Fisher Administration Building at 12121 West North Avenue. We will begin with a moment of silent reflection. Dr. Erti, please will you call the roll?
Mr. Bowden? Here. Mrs. Muehlfeld?
Here.
Mr. Meier?
Here.
Mrs. Randall?
Here.
Mrs. Casey?
Here.
Mr. Rowland?
Here.
Mrs. Kenny?
Here.
Thank you. We are now going to the portion of the agenda for public comment on non-agenda items. Members of the Wauwatosa School Board value the input of students, parents, staff members, and community members. The board's regularly scheduled meetings provide an opportunity for opinions and concerns to be expressed publicly. The board values all comments and will respectfully consider this input in decision-making. The board requests that individuals limit their comment on each item to 3 minutes. Following any comment, an individual board member may respond on the issue raised. However, it is not the intent of the public comment portion of the agenda for the board to enter into a debate with members of the community. Because non-agenda items are not publicly posted in advance, no action will be taken on public comment regarding non-agenda items this evening. Is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda which board members would like to remove for separate discussion and action? Yes, Mrs. Randall?
I'd like a separate vote, please, on the human resources action to deny a former teacher's request for a waiver or reduction of liquidated damages.
Okay, so we'll have separate action on that item. Let me see. To make my notes here. Thank you for your patience with me. So may I have a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Randall, for the motion, and Mrs. Casey for the second. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Is there any community comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Dr. Erti, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mrs. Casey?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes.
Mrs. Muehlfeld?
Yes.
Mrs. Randall?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Meier?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Would someone like to volunteer to read the separate item that was removed from the consent agenda? Mrs. Muehlfeld, please will you make the motion?
Yes, thank you. It is recommended that the school board deny a former teacher's request for a waiver or reduction of the liquidated damages in the 2016-17 individual teacher contract as discussed in executive closed session on October 24th, 2016, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Rowland, thank you for the second. Is any discussion wanted? Thank you. Any community comment wanted? Seeing none, Dr. Erti, please call the roll.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mrs. Casey?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes.
Mrs. Muehlfeld?
Yes.
Mrs. Randall?
No.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Meier?
Yes, motion carries 6-1. Okay, thank you. And we'll now move to the superintendent's report section of the agenda. Dr. Erti has a report on the upcoming board election and the polling places conversations.
Thank you. Just a reminder that An election will be held in the Wauwatosa School District on April 4th, 2017 to elect 4 at-large board members serving in numbered seats for the Wauwatosa School Board to serve a 3-year term beginning on the 4th Monday of April 2017. The present incumbent board members are Seat 4, Mary Jo Randall, Seat 5, Kristy Casey, Seat 6, Sharon Muehlfeld, and Seat 7, Brian Bowden. Nomination papers must indicate the numbered seat for which a candidate intends to run. If more than 2 candidates for any numbered seat file nomination papers, a primary election will be held February 21st, 2017. The first day candidates may circulate nomination papers is December 1st of this year, and the final day for filing nomination papers is 5 p.m., January 3rd, 2017. School board election forms may be downloaded from the Wisconsin State Election Board website, or they can contact the superintendent's office and we can help guide them in the right direction. Also regarding school district voting locations, last spring the board had voted to not allow voting to take place in our schools after this election, which is being held tomorrow. Since that time, the city has gone through looking for new locations, and they've come into run into some roadblocks and are having a difficult time finding locations. The city council passed a resolution essentially asking the city administrator to meet with me to discuss voting in the schools and if there's any change. So I'm going to be meeting with City Administrator Jim Archambault later this week and have some discussions. If they can lead to something that can remedy the concerns that I've had and our principals have had while voting was taking place in the schools, and something has changed in that regard, there's a possibility we bring a recommendation back for the board to consider, but we'll see where that goes during that meeting.
Thank you. So to emphasize, the election tomorrow is in the schools as it has been in past elections. Classes are not in session to allow for the voting in the schools. Regarding future polling places, there are no decisions, to my knowledge, no analysis yet. But we are committed to discussions on any new information, as I was quoted as making comment on at a recent city committee meeting where I was asked to make comment. So again, I emphasize the schools are the polling places as regularly has been done in the past for the election tomorrow. Is there any board comment? Is there any community comment? Oh, Mrs. Randall, yes.
Thank you. I just want to remind us all how this came about. Dr. Ertl, last year you and I talked about this quite a few times as you tried to work with the city to allay your fears about safety. And so in May you brought it to the board with the understanding that everything had been exhausted at the city. So we did have some pretty tough discussion here at the board table about that, and I know and I think other people expressed the issue of student safety being the one and only reason to close our buildings to the public on election day. So Dr. Ertl, I hope that is your focus in discussion. I'm a little bit puzzled that nothing could have been done before May, but something could come now. And like I said, it was a hard discussion for us. We've also had some feedback from the community about the decision. So I strongly, strongly urge you to make safety the deciding factor, which is what I think brought it to us in the first place. And any information you might have tonight about what you know could be different, I would appreciate.
Well, certainly student safety is the only reason that it was brought forward. No other reasons involved. Quite simply, the city council has asked myself and the city administrator to sit down and discuss it, and that's what we'll do. And if there's no guarantees on anything, if we can come to some agreement that can relay the concerns that we've had, the principals have had, and I've had, then there's a possibility. But I guess as of right now, the board had voted that there is not voting in the schools, and until something changes from the board level, that's the way it stands.
Is there any other comment from the board? Yes, Mrs. Casey.
I guess, Dr. Erl, if you could, some things that I'm thinking about are kind of like how long have we been voting in the schools, you know, and historically, what did we do before we voted in schools, and are there other communities that don't vote in schools, and where do they vote? And I'm looking for some more information, and I really hope that they come to the table with something else other than just asking to have it back in the schools. I yield.
Thank you. Any additional comment? Any community comment? With that, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the superintendent's report. No, I'm confused. I apologize. So, the scheduling session is in service following the regular session. So with that, we will entertain comment again on non-agenda items. Seeing no comment on non-agenda items, may I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and reconvene in conference room C into an in-service to discuss secondary scheduling? As this is a working session of the board, public comment will not be entertained at this session. May I have a motion, please?
I move.
Second.
Mrs. Casey moved. Mr. Rollins seconded. Dr. Ertl, please call the roll.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mrs. Casey?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes.
Mrs. Muehlfeld?
Yes.
Mrs. Randall?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Meier?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. The in-service will be held in this room. It is open to the public. Dr. Ertl, do your folks need any time to prepare?
Yeah, we just want to move some tables around and
Okay.
sit up here.
So we'll take a short